Power Rangers. I wasn't the biggest fan growing up, but even I know the theme, have played the Genji skin in Overwatch. Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, shows so influential that they're able to build their own entire genre and generate millions of revenue through crafting these horrible color-coded cape-wearing Ginyu Force-esque outfits that I see every Halloween into these beautiful symbols of teamwork, of justice, of triumph. Fuck that shit! Ranger Reject, or Go-Go Loser Ranger? By the author of the quintessential quintuplets, has Rangers that'll stomp you out, take your lunch money, and piss on it for fun. This world's Power Rangers, the Dragon Keepers, were formed to defeat villains who came out of nowhere, planning their city in the sky, but they were too effective? Within the span of just a year, all the bosses had been crushed under the Keeper's thumb. But in order to keep their power, to keep their grip over society, the Dragon Keepers struck a deal with the leftover minions. Every Sunday, we host a huge fake battle. You guys come up with a boss for us to defeat, and we spare your lives. A huge performative charade that would pacify the audience and keep the true corruption in their organization secret. And thus, the Sunday battles were born. It was a perfect plan, and this concept fucks. Hold your horses now, there, partner, it's not real. Taking these symbols of justice and peace and their effect on culture and twisting that into a different side of the story entirely, even parodying the Monster of the Week format. It reminds me of The Boys. Is what I would have said 7 episodes ago. Sure, it also has an egotistical maniac at the front of its fake superhero organization who may engage in a titty milk install or two, I don't know. The director even drew on The Boys as inspiration for this adaptation, but zoom out a little bit and you'll realize that holy shit, that comparison doesn't really do this show any justice beyond the surface. The war between the Dragon Keepers and the bosses ended recently enough to where everyone in the story has a direct connection to it. They remember their lives being saved, their families being rescued from the genuine horror of the boss villains. So when they finally work their way up and see the organization for what it truly is, it breaks them. It disillusions them. They're inspired to change it. The Ranger Force is filled with just as many, maybe ruthless, maybe self-absorbed, maybe naive, but genuinely good people as it is actual sociopaths who need to stay their ass inside. And suddenly, wham! Characters start lying through their fucking teeth, manipulating each other's secrets, betrayals, mind games, hidden agendas. Everyone has their own vision of what the Dragon Keepers should be, and most of them would stop at nothing to see their goal come true. And that disconnect of what the Dragon Keepers are supposed to be and what they actually are and how the characters react to it is what makes this show so interesting. And sitting right at the center of it is our protagonist, Fighter D, one of the leftover goons called Dusters that was enslaved into the Sunday battles. He knows the Dragon Keeper's secret, that the war is a facade, and with his powers of disguise and immortality, he has a plan to rip down the fabric of the whole operation from the inside. A plan to get his revenge. The only problems are that 1, he doesn't know anything about human society, and 2, he's prone to what we call in the industry Japanese Huey. Can you break it down for the people who don't understand? Thanks, Japanese Huey. If it wasn't obvious enough from the fact that our little goober eats steak like a crippled puppy, he already has a hard enough time blending in. So the fact that he's willing to crash out harder than Gru over any mentions of the minions being weak means that this motherfucker would have been caught within 2 days of breaking free, if it wasn't for these guys. Hibiki's plan for the Dragon Keepers is to make peace with the Dusters. He's our Tanjiro, our Deku, the closest thing you get to a generic shonen protagonist, and yet they wrote him in a way that feels endearing, that feels genuine instead of cliche. He isn't naive. He knows that changing the Rangers into the symbol of justice they're supposed to be is an uphill battle. And he surprises you with shit you didn't know he was capable of. Plans that are smarter than you'd think. Suzukiri is, we don't know a lot about her, to be honest. What I do know is that if your man start talking to a girl that's hitting this pose, get him the fuck out of there. He'll never be the same after. She's mysterious, conniving, and I'm pretty sure owns a private island with some dark secrets. Pui Pui, Natsu, Yellow Ranger Makima, and about 20 other characters with their own visions of what the Rangers should become. Let me let you in on a secret. What do you think happens when you get so many passionate people with different goals, beliefs, and ideologies in the same place for too long?
Psst. I see dead people.
Yo, editing virtue. I had a Not Like Us edit here because I started this video 2 months ago before the song was overplayed, and it got copyrighted, which is crazy because I could have swore they said explicitly Kendrick wasn't gonna copyright any of his diss tracks, but unfortunately, I don't feel like going through a 30-day dispute with YouTube for something that might not even happen anyway. So just know that they beat their own hands in this show. That was the whole point. Fucking wop, 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 something, 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 A minor. They yap a lot in this show. Not as much as the cicadas outside of my house right now. Holy shit. But all of that dialogue and buildup pours directly into the fight scenes. This is minor spoilers, so skip to the number on the screen if you don't want to see it. But for one fight, D and Hibiki are trying to plan his escape against another ranger, and Hibiki cuts his own hand off so he can take a piece of D's body and transform it around him. Are you fucking kidding me? They do this without explaining any of it until the post credits. And because D is just a minion, the way that he wins or escapes his fights is always a strategy or a tactic. The fights make you use your brain. And what's crazier is that if you kept your ear to the ground earlier in this episode, you would have seen Hibiki tricking D into revealing parts of his powers necessary to do this plan. They do that a lot in this show, and it gives meaning to all the yap between the conflict, because as lightsabers shred through the air, you're constantly wondering not only if you're being lied to or manipulated, but how you can piece together what's gonna happen next. And then the Dragon Keepers finally show up, and it's like, and I think that's why I like this show so much. It's not perfect, it's not the best animated or the best written. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 to be honest, but in a season with the return of so many goats of this medium, immersive fantasy worlds with pedophile tendencies, the shonen boys showing out in full force this summer, and amazing manga getting terrible adaptations. It's this show that has Power Rangers suffocating the screen with aura, hitting home runs off of water towers and bashing in heads with pipes in the same swing. It's this show that asks when everyone around you is lying, when everyone is trying to use you for their own benefit, revolution, or reform, which would you choose? It's this show that's fun, that's interesting, and that'll change the way I look at Power Rangers and what those stories can be forever.